Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the conclusion of White Knight. My name is Winter, and we're fixing to meet up with William and wrap this whole fucking thing up. And damn, I'm sucked into it. I'm ready, man. I'm fucking stoked. Dawn will not come. Oh, where are we? Okay, we're in the graveyard. I know that, but I was just trying to... I couldn't see the character there for a moment, so...
She was inviting me to follow her. Come see, she was telling me. It was her best part. A victim who plays her role to cheat death. But she wasn't deceiving anyone. And me, even less.
Shoes everywhere. Everywhere. Would
As a
Selena...
conscientious diva, Selena walked to her grand finale. My fear was washed away by disgust. I was about to meet William.
Oh, what do we got here? It's back where it all started. A life ago. I thought the... Oh, okay. I was gonna say, I thought those matches were sopping ass wet and worthless. Maybe something useful here in the trunk. Like a gun. Oh my god. AAA is going to have your ass. The insurance company's not going to like that shit at all.
So it was me. And I had killed her. I had killed the only beautiful thing in the world. The only one which could save me. I'm sorry. It was me all along, Selena. The son of a bitch. The sicko. The killer. The wolf. The filth. The bastard. The scum. Oh, you should have let your mother kill you. You should have undone what she did. You knew, and yet you let me have a second chance, Selena. Let me go on till the end. The memories of what I had done were coming back slowly. Like the tide washing ashore the rotten corpses from a wreck. Selena was lighter than a pillow. The real weight was all those years of filth stored in my memory. Images. The blade I sunk deep into the stomach of my own mother. Those dark-haired women. Those hated clones of Margaret, split from head to toe as a sacrifice to the moon. Their organs displayed carefully, like some child fresco. Selena on the stage of smoke and mirrors. The glass I used to toast with her. The first time we talked. her tears, the letters in which she told me about losing her kid, how her husband had been murdered, and our kiss, the blade I used to stab her. My father and the father of my mother died from the same madness, the same poison that men injected into the economic system they had created. On October 29th, 1929, millions of casualties, the scent of blood. And for the wolves, the beginning of the hunt.
Okay, I was hoping to not interrupt the flow of that dialogue right there, but let's take a look right quick at what it is we just picked up, which was from William to Selena, the second letter. I've just finished reading your letter, Selena. Never had anyone open their heart so fully to me. I remember you asked yourself how it was possible that your voice would match my piano so perfectly. You and me are lost souls, my dove, but you are full of light, whereas I have been crawling down the abyss for far too long. I have told you some things, but not all of them. I didn't tell you about the blood on my hands. If you knew, one couldn't do anything against the fear. You don't come back from the darkness. It drives you crazy. Sometimes I forget the simple fact. I'm a madman. Your love reminds me of the monster I've always been. Your warmth, your perfume, that's the closest I'll ever be to heaven. You are an incarnation of the moon, Luna, but neither of you was able to save me. That was not meant to be. This country needs wolves as much as it needs game. You will never receive this letter. Tonight, you will expect me to love you, and I will kill you, because I am a shadow, and I can't stand anything but darkness and night. William Vesper. Yeah. So there's a couple of things that I think are interesting about William, Selena, and indeed Margaret. I don't know how well known this is, so if I'm beating a dead horse, just go ahead and let me know. But he mentions there that he, can only exist in the darkness, and anything that represents light can drive him crazy. And Luna, the moon that he worshipped or followed, whatever you want to call it, didn't save him. It's interesting that William, whose name in German means protector, killed a woman named Selena, whose name in Latin or Greek, one of the two, I believe it's Latin though, means moon goddess, and the name Vesper is Latin for evening. So the protector that is fond of the dark, or the protector from the dark, is naturally attracted to and also repulsed by the moon goddess Selena. I don't know if that's ever been picked up on before, but I think that's a pretty nifty little Easter egg there. That had to be intentional.
Selena's warmth was pulsing slowly in my arms, as the dark spot of my culpability was growing over her stomach. In the sky, the moon was watching me, her son, as I was taking my first steps, holding her daughter in my arms. A resurrection. A second chance. Selena was dying. I could tell from her body, tightly pressed against me. At times, her eyes would open and stare at me. Not a hint of anger or accusation. She could have let go. Let her light pass. Let my mother take me back. But she was protecting me. She was forgiving me. The moon was silently watching us as we made our last push through the night. Soon, dawn would come. The sun would wash away all that ink which had condemned us. Goodbye, Luna. Goodbye, Mother. This night had been too long already.
The lyrics to the song are different now.
In nature, forgiveness is part of a whole. It's part of a cycle, of a time frame, of harmony. We had been waiting long enough. I was trying to keep Selena warm as best as I could while she was holding on to my hand. Selena had never really been a part of this world. The full moon was coming to take back one of her lost rays. I was watching her go, wondering if I would ever see her again. Probably a matter of cycle. I could wait. And it was a pretty night.
There we go. A very sad story comes to an end. Let me grab my coffee right quick, or my cafe, and I'll be with y'all. Alright, so this concludes White Knight. Fantastic game, excellent writing. Can't recommend it enough. My personal favorite game of 2015 that I played. It's a shame that it got overlooked, because it does so many things right, where so many games in 2015 that got 10 out of 10 ratings by critics and shit like that did so many things wrong. I mean, the house, the level design is awesome in this game. I mean, it's a real house, you know, you can't really fuck that up, but there are some games that do that, even in this day and age. The music's fucking stellar. I mean, I've said that before, I'll say it again, I love this soundtrack. And with regards to the music, there is a promotional music video for this game out that actually explains the backstory, the events that lead up to the beginning of everything in this game. And I would like to think that the lyrics, when she talks about flipping a coin, I would like to think that the lyrics are referencing her decision to confide in or possibly move in with William, you know, the Black Wolf killer. Because I'm not really sure. I haven't decided yet. I'm not of the conclusion that she did live with him for a period of time, even if it was just a night or whatever, if she stayed overnight, or if he actually took her to the house, you know, because the belongings in the bathroom cupboard kind of indicate that she was in fact there. But then again, he's the Black Wolf killer who preyed on, you know, dark-haired women. So it's very possible that that's just a trophy of sorts from a previous victim, because he had quite a few. He's been doing what he's been doing for quite a while. And clearly he knows it's wrong, and he knows he's not right in the head, and he can't stand himself. And so he turns to drinking. And possible drug use, I don't think there was anything mentioned of it, but it's possible. I'm not going to rule it out. I think opium was the drug of choice back in those times, though I could be wrong on that. I'm not a historian, so that may be just treat that as a personal theory. But yeah, born from a fucked up mother, raised in a fucked up environment, very much a product of that fucked up environment, and knows it and feels terrible about it. Meets Selena, the living incarnation of the moon goddess, as I mentioned a little bit ago, and is so attracted to and both repulsed by at the same time. He wants to love her, but he doesn't think he's deserving of any affection because of the terrible things that he's done and because of the things that he's gone through in his life. And so he kills her and feels absolutely fucking terrible about it, and is haunted by not only the ghost of his mother, but the ghost of what he's done. Because one thing that you've got to ask yourself is what in this story is real. Obviously, the mansion is real, William is real, the car is real, but the events that take place in this story, and what I'm talking about is the ghost and the state of the house. Are the ghosts real, or are those just mental projections of his mother that he is haunted by? So, not just figuratively, but literally. Well, they could be figuratively. I personally think that everything is in his mind. The ghosts aren't real. That's just his personal demons coming to haunt him. And indeed, as we went through the house, you'll notice it was fairly neat and well kept when we first entered. And then once we left the attic, the floors were covered in blood. There were swarms of flies everywhere. It suddenly reeked of death. Once we got out of the attic, his illusional life, the walls came crumbling down, and he was faced with the reality. And we had been walking through those blood stains and through those swarms of flies and the smell of death the entire time. But up until the attic, the illusion that everything was normal was still suppressed, or still present, and the reality was suppressed. But somehow once we got up into the attic where Selena was stabbed, reality came calling, and he couldn't handle it. And it got to the point where, I don't know, what do you think happens next? I picture him killing again, but I also think as racked with guilt as he is, he wouldn't live much longer. I don't know if he would take his own life or put himself in a position where he would be murdered, as sadly some people do that have conditions like that. It's happened before. At least in America, but probably not anywhere else, because that's a topic for another video, which we'll never get to anyways. But, good game. It's excellent storytelling. The subtleties are perfect. As I mentioned, as we went through this house, Selena's pictures were everywhere, in every single room, damn near. And that's another thing that you have to ask yourself, was that real? Or were the pictures of Selena his guilt coming knocking, trying to remind him of what it is that he had done to this very beautiful, very special woman who just needed a friend, She'd been through a rough marriage, she'd had a miscarriage, her parents had essentially disowned her once she came to America to pursue her dream of singing. She just needed someone to talk to, and she unfortunately just met the wrong person on the wrong night. And when she was brought to the house, either to live or just for a date or something like that, whenever William took her up into the attic to dance with her to the record that we put on, he fucking stabbed her, man. He just did what, unfortunately, is in his nature due to his environment. And you can't blame it all on Margaret, because she's a sympathetic character as well. I mean, yes, you can blame it on Margaret, and you probably should. But again, the name Vesper, being Latin for evening, I mean, I don't know. Clearly, Margaret came from a wealthy family, and then somewhere along the lines, either before or after her own father raped her, or molested her, or whichever one of the two happened, probably one and the same to both, but rightfully so. But it's never really fully explained, I don't think, if it was full on one or full on the other, but something happened between her father and her that was obviously of an unwanted sexual nature, and her mind fractured, and somewhere along the way her family lost her wealth, so she hooks up with William's dad, Henry, because he owns his own company and has some wealth and can put her back onto the social status that she had recently fallen from, and she was just using Henry to get what she wanted, and Henry knew this, and unfortunately she gets pregnant and William is born, and now they're both stuck together dealing with each other and living with each other until Henry unfortunately dies of syphilis, wasn't it? Wasn't it a very, very bad case of syphilis? I think that's what I remember reading in the journal, though he could have died from something else. I believe it was syphilis, though. Some of these details are a little bit fuzzy, and some of these are my own personal interpretations to the story, so I could very well be getting them wrong. I would like to think I'm right, but, who doesn't? I mean, it's the internet, I know more than you. I am the final authority on this topic. But yeah, Henry is stuck with Margaret, realizes very quickly after they marry what a bitch she is and how much evil is within her. But he wants to look after William, and unfortunately he passes away a little bit too soon and is unable to raise William. So William is raised single-handedly by Margaret and the servants, and Margaret just twists his mind. Because of what happened with her father, she no longer has any patience for men, doesn't really care for them. A little bit understandable, you know? And yeah, then everything happens. And if you would like to see the murder of Margaret, I'll put a link in the description below for the music video which shows those events and the catalyst to everything that, happens in this story. Fucking great game though. Absolutely love it. And it's, again, it's one of those games where you can play this game 2 or 3 times and miss every single detail. You won't fully pick up on it potentially until a couple of playthroughs in. Loads of replayability as far as I'm concerned, as well as an alternate ending. And I'm not gonna lie, the ending that we got is not the ending that I was wanting, because you've got, much like in the vein of a Silent Hill, you've got a good ending and a bad ending. And we got the quote-unquote good ending. But I like to believe that the bad ending is the real ending. And it's all predetermined by what the moon looks like when you start playing, which is an awesome touch, Didn't get the ending I wanted, but I'm still happy with how it turned out. It's a great fucking game. It's always a lot of fun to replay. It's one of those games that balances everything right. With the storytelling, the fun gameplay, the pacing, the atmosphere, the mood, the sound design, the music, the voice acting, the art style, the character models. It all just comes together perfectly. It's one of those few games, in my opinion, that does everything right and absolutely deserves whatever praise it gets. It's an unknown, and that's unfortunate, but god damn it, it deserves to be held on a high pedestal because it's flawless, in my opinion. One of the very few games that I can say about. And if you've never played it before, check it out. My name's been Winter. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Additionally, I would like to bring up that I was only joking about me being an expert on everything because this is the internet. It was just a play on the fact that, everybody on the internet rightfully has opinions. I claim no expert knowledge of the game. I'm just someone that's played it. I think this is my 6th time now. 6th or 7th. And I would like to think that I'm correct on a couple of them, especially the bit where I mentioned everything happening in his head, due to the fact that the bar William comes from in the beginning of the game and the one where he meets up with Selena where she's singing is called the Smoke and Mirrors. It's another clever allusion to everything being an illusion. Additionally, one thing I can claim to know for sure is that Awesome Studios hails from France. So, if you were curious why the recipes from France and the French islands show up in the game, there you go. Go ahead and prepare some if you would like. They sound delicious. Je m'appelle Winter. Au revoir.